Sure. Jake, when John's playing like this and the way he's been playing, how much more difficult do you feel like it is for people to guard you and deal with you guys when you have him and Bruce back there? And, of course, in Devin, as far as a backcourt.
Yeah, listen, we felt coming into the season as we put this team together that we had one of the best backcourts in the country, certainly potential to have one of the best backcourts in the country. And we have multiple guys who are capable of being really good offensively on any given night. And listen, we've been fighting to have maybe, some days like this, right? We haven't had a lot where we had maybe 3 or 4 guys rolling. We might have had a couple guys rolling at times. So I think those 3 were really good. And John, his response after coming out of the Washington game was really impressive. We don't want to certainly don't want to underestimate what Bruce did again, right? I know he's played with such consistency this year, but he was really good. Devin, who, quite honestly, didn't get to practice a whole lot this week heading into this game, did some great things out there. And, Tilly's points and things maybe don't pop off the page, but when you got a 7-footer who can dish out 5 assists and 1 turnover, it's a real weapon offensively, especially against a team who puts you in compromising positions with their switching defense and things that they do. So, yes, those 2 were really good, but I thought it was a complete team effort. Amari continues to be a great player for us, and he's going to continue to get better. So we could certainly go on, but, those 2 led the way for us.
And then just real quick, John talked about getting in the gym at 5 a.m. a lot of mornings, really working. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's why I have such trust and belief in him, because I know the work he puts in, and I'm kind of cut from the same cloth. That's how I was brought up. You're shooting it well, you get in the gym. You're not shooting it well, you get in the gym. You're playing great, get in the gym. Maybe you struggle, get in the gym. And he's the same way. He's been raised that same way. So he had been playing so much better that, I knew, and I told our staff, like, this is going to be a kind of a blip on the radar, this Washington thing, because I knew how he's been working, how he approached practice. So really proud of him.
Never trailed today, Coach. How impressed were you with the team's response following that disappointing loss in your last time out?
Yeah, listen, I think there was some good to come from our last loss at Washington. The way we had some guys step up when we were shorthanded there in the second half was a positive, right? Coming into this game, and in this league, you can't hold on to the previous game, win or lose. Like, you have to get ready to go for the next one. And, being at home against a really good team on, a stage that we, myself, Ross, we fought for to get more of, these kind of post-New Year CBS, afternoon games, which are there's just a tad bit more energy in these environments. And it's really that way across the country. So I was really proud of the way our guys responded, and played with the mentality consistently this game. That's what we've been fighting for, and I thought it was really good.
Did it feel good to be back in the suit out there on the floor?
Did it feel good?
Yeah.
I don't know if it feels very good. I was a little hot out there, but I think I sent my wife I asked her last night. I sent her a text this morning. I brought both just in case, and she said go with the suit. So I trusted her instincts. And also, the reason I thought about it were 2 things. Got a great deal of respect for Mick Cronin. Obviously, I grew up in Ohio. He's been, in Ohio for so long, and he looks pretty good on the sideline. So it was a little nod to him. And I think, just this platform, this type of game, CBS, 1 o'clock, it just seemed right. I don't know that does it have to be that way. The rest, I'll talk to the boss. So,
kind of going along with that same last question he asked about this game, it seemed like this was a really big game for both teams. You guys are kind of similar in terms of resume and where you guys were at. It seemed like somebody was going to walk away with a really big win today. Did you guys make more of this than just being another game? Did it stand out to you, or did you just treat it as just business as usual?
We treated this like a very big game, which we treat every Big Ten game. So yes, I think to the standpoint this was a big game, but that's how we've approached all of them. I don't think you can look at our schedule and say, man, that game's not really big. And that's what I love about this league. It's the deepest league in the country. And you have to bring it every single game, home, road, it doesn't matter. And that's been our approach every time.
Yeah, John said you got into him a little bit after the last game.
It's interesting that he took it that way.
How do you deal with that? Because maybe you see some of yourself in him, are you able to kind of not be tougher on him, but kind of speak truth to him because you know he can take it?
Well, he is tough. And one of the things we do in this program is we coach in truth. And, I love this group we have, and I love working with these guys. I don't get to do it as much as I'd like, but I just love being in the gym with them. And so I think because of the relationship we have, not just John, like myself and our staff, we can coach these guys hard because they know we love them. We want them to be great, and our team is committed to, putting winning first. So John and I have a great relationship. I obviously, recruited him, and biggest thing for me is I want our guys, certainly him, but all our guys to know how much we believe in what they can do. We keep fighting for, more guys to be aggressive. I think we've taken a step forward in that regard. But, we coach in truth. Guys do a great job of responding, and I think it's because they know how much we care about them.
That response he had, I mean, what didn't you like about the last game, and did he turn it around in this game from the things that maybe you talked to him about?
Yeah, technically I thought he played too fast. He played sped up when the ball was in his hands, and their defense was designed to do that, and I thought he let him do it. This game, I thought he played with tremendous poise, and he controlled the pace when he had the ball in his hands. That's what he's capable of. Against a team who's really good at turning teams over, and we certainly had a couple too many. He didn't have any. And he was in some compromised situations, but I thought his poise was really impressive for again, he's played a lot of minutes, and so I told a couple of our guys, he's one of them. I even told Amara, it's like, you're playing old guy minutes, and we're going to coach you like an old guy. But Junie's a sophomore, and I think we got high-level expectations for him. He has major expectations for himself, and I think that's why it works so well, and that's why we were able to see such a quick response.
After the Nebraska game, you were pretty upset as to how your team wasn't getting a lot of the 50-50 balls. And then today, you basically played them to a draw on the boards when you were on offense. They had 13 defensive rebounds. You had 12 offensive. Do you think that your team kind of exercised that, at least for today? Yeah,
I think we've been better. Weren't perfect. There were a couple there at the end I'd like to come up with that were bouncing around. But I think UCLA plays a really physical, tough game, and that's kind of been Mick Cronin, right, for a long time. So we talked to our guys about the physicality required in this game heading in. But I think that's now majority of the stretches in the last few games. Certainly hasn't been perfect, but where we've been either the first to the floor or we've been the team to come up with that ball that's bouncing around that maybe either team could get. So I think our guys have responded to that really well. We watched some film as to what that looks like when it's done right, and our guys have done a great job.
And then one lineup that caught my attention that you were utilizing a lot was Bruce with Mobley with Gabe Cupps. Those are three dudes who are all listed as shorter than you and me, all on the court at the same time. So is that a lineup that you've been wanting to be seeing, or is that something that you felt was necessity either because of a matchup with UCLA or just general minute allotment with Noel being injured?
I think yes. There's a little bit of all that, right? I think Daly being in foul trouble. They had to go a little bit smaller at times. I think Bruce plays a lot bigger than he is. He's so physically strong and tough, and he anticipates so well. And then there's some things we can do kind of behind those guys to help negate maybe what isn't a real imposing kind of third perimeter player, right? But defensively it gives us at times. Gabe's provided some pressure on the ball, which has been really good. And the biggest question, we have in that group is rebounding. And I think, those guys have fought really hard in that space and gotten better. So we felt like with Brandon going down, we've been kind of looking at, some of the analytics of lineups throughout the course of the year. And we felt like this was one that we needed to get going a little bit. And it was, I don't know what it ended up being, but it felt pretty good out there.
The last time we were here, we were talking about how you wanted your team to play with the intensity that they do sometimes when they're down by double digits right from the jump. They did that today. They did that in the second half as well. What's it like to see something that you so tangibly said, I want to see this actually play out the next time you're at home?
Well, it's contagious, and it got the best of me a couple times when some big plays were made and got me fired up. I think I want our guys to play with a great deal of passion. We fed off the crowd, and the energy in the shot today was really good. That having our students back was, in the Nut House was great. So all that stuff was part of who we need to be and what we I want guys to play with just this joy and passion and aggressiveness, and I felt like we did that for a while today, and it becomes contagious, and like I said, it got me a couple times.
When you see your guys playing like they did today, really just controlling an entire game, how much confidence does that give you, and how much do you lean on that in practice to say this is who we can be? And then also, do you feel you have to wear a suit from here on out now that you played that well?
Yeah, I don't. We'll see about that one. My two bosses, Ross and my wife, will have a lot to having opinions on that I'll take into major consideration. But listen, I think when we watch film and we break down games, we're certainly learning from the mistakes we made, but we're also learning from the things we're doing right, and being able to see and evaluate right when you have good stretches is as important as evaluating and watching those stretches that aren't as good. And we certainly will break down themes within that. So I think our guys, we have a culture in our program right now where guys are investing a lot of time in film, a lot of time on their own, quite honestly, and I think it's been a great thing for us. But we utilize the good and the bad of film to continue to grow, because we got to keep growing.
Hey, Jake, when you guys were up 62-45, you had that possession where Amari missed a couple shots, but Gabe chases one down, Amari misses, and then Junie chases one down. Might have been one of those moments where you said the game got the best of you, you went crazy. What are you thinking when you see like that unfold, where pretty much everybody that's on the floor had a hand in extending the possession?
Yeah, just a highlight of the game, just the effort and the physicality and the do whatever it takes to win, and moving on to the next part of the play, not even the next play, right? Just moving on to the next part of that play. So I think, and then when I think it might have been John who started celebrating, and then that really got me. So that got me going. But our effort was really, really good today. This is a team that, make no mistake, has played hard, and we had a dinner with our captains, which was really impactful for us last night, and they acknowledge that. This is a team that has played really hard. This is a team that has played tough. We haven't necessarily played perfect, which nobody does, but the thing that our captains challenged our guys was playing for each other, and in that moment, it felt like that's all that mattered, and it was a really special moment.
At the end, UCLA is pressing, trying to force turnovers to inch it down 14, 12, 10. You had Tilly, kind of the guy that got the inbounds and kind of facilitated the break there. How much easier does it make it to break a press like that when you have a big guy that can kind of quarterback the break like that? A lot of big guys can't do that.
It's a huge advantage. Huge advantage. Learned that from Bryce Drew when we were together at Vanderbilt and had Luke Cornett, who's obviously had a really great NBA career. He was a guy that we broke the press with a lot. To get the ball in bounds. So I think Tilly's ability to not only have a size advantage against a lot of presses, but be able to make decisions under pressure and in traffic is really great. And then, if teams put a bigger guy on him, he's so mobile that it allows us to do some things. So it's a luxury to have, certainly.
It felt like, was that as much zone defense as you've played? And did you switch to it early in the game, or did you start? How did that all come about, and why was it so effective today, I guess?
Yes, and it felt like a lot. I don't know what the possession count ended up being, and I don't know what our points per possession was against zone yet. We'll certainly, we were evaluating that as the game was going on, but we felt like, adding that earlier in the game, it's been something we've gone to later. We felt like adding that earlier in the game was something that could be good for us.
Yeah, I'm going to ask another question. question. You mentioned the turnovers with him earlier and cleaning those up from the Washington game. It feels like there's been stretches of this season where he's done a great job not turning the ball over, and then those kind of seem to be his best shooting and scoring performances too. Like, do you think that feeds into other areas of the game when he's turning the ball over versus not turning the ball over?
Yeah, I think when he plays with a free mind and is aggressive, he's really gifted. I think at times when he's pressed and plays sped up, it's some defense have been able to give him some problems. But the great thing about John is he's really coachable, and he's a really talented player who works extremely hard. So you kind of combine all those three things, you're gonna have more really good days than not. And I think that's what we're seeing. A guy who's in his sophomore year has made some adjustments that's shown some growth, and that's what you want from a player and a guy that we anticipated coming into the season having a big year, and he's doing that because he's earned the right to do it. So it's been really impressive to watch his maturation as a player this year.
There are obviously other ways guys off the bench contributed besides the scoring column. Gabe's hustle. Yvonne did some things, but still only 2 bench points in this one. It seems like you've shortened the rotations a little bit, maybe to lean on Bruce and Devin and John a little more. How do you prepare them to shoulder that sort of load if that's what's going to be expected of them throughout the season here?
Yeah, we lean on sports science. We're very efficient with our time, and we have a great staff who helps us recover every day. But I don't think this is we're not at a point right where it has to be this way. I think we're continuing to work with some guys to step up and give us more, and I think we're seeing some better play. I think we're seeing some guys be like Gabe. We had a game where we had some guys on the bench who didn't take a single shot in like 21 combined minutes. That hasn't been the case anymore. So that's a step in the right direction. And some of those guys, Taysom, Colin Gay, they see one go in, and it's a different ball game now. So we got high level belief in those guys. They just, what I'm evaluating when the game is going on is, are they being aggressive? Are they executing our schemes defensively? Like offensively, I want to see them be aggressive. They can make mistakes. Just make them aggressive ones. And then defensively, let's execute at a high level. Let's communicate and let's show tremendous fight. They do those things, and we got confidence in them, and they can really help us. So that's what we're fighting for, is just a little bit more of that, and I think we're moving in the right direction with those guys.
Time for our last group. Joe, Dylan.
Is that a Terry Wymer pin?
Yes.
You guys go back, don't you?
We do. Yeah. So Terry and I are from the same area, and he was a really good friend. When you get in this position and you look at some of the coaches in the league and some of the officials in the league, and you have a guy that you can pick up the phone and call and say, "Hey, what did you think?" and they'll tell you the truth. It's super valuable. And he was that for me. He would always joke with me about a call he missed at the end of the game when I was playing at Valpo, that he forever owed me. But I miss Terry, and I think being able to honor him is been pretty special. He was, again, a great friend who always told the truth. Hey, Jake, you did too much on that one, or and it was great to have that. So it's been awesome for T.O. to step up in those shoes. They're really big shoes to fill, and he's doing a great job for all of us and for our league. But Terry Wymer's certainly missed, Northwest Ohio guy, and it's great to be able to honor him throughout this season.
You talked about Kristoff having an impact other than maybe scoring. In the first half, he did take a shot, though. I think there was a moment maybe midway around the first half where he subbed out and you talked to him for an extended little bit of time as play was still going on. Was that about not being aggressive enough, or what did you say to him during that?
Yeah, I mean, if he hadn't shot it up to that point, it probably was. It probably was about being aggressive. I think, listen, he has an ability, and as we have a handful of guys who can. He has an ability to impact the game without scoring. Now, we prefer for him to score, right? And he's got to be aggressive. But his fingerprints were all over this game, even though he only took a couple shots. Breaking the press, right? 5 assists. we're maybe getting a little stagnant offensively. He gets a catch, makes something happen, creates an open shot for somebody. So I think he was – go back and watch the film, but it felt like, he did a really good job in significant stretches today.
Jake, late in the game, you would push it out to almost, I think it was 19, and then they were hitting buckets for a while there. I think they scored on 7 or 8 straight, but you were also doing that. When a game, they put a run together like that, it could potentially go the other way, but your offense in those moments, how much is your offense almost like a defense, where if they get going, you feel like you can rely on your offense to carry you, even in a stretch where they're, like I said, I think 7 or 8 possessions in a row?
Yeah, there were some big offensive possessions because we did not do what we needed to do on the defensive end there for a stretch. And if you've followed some of their scores the last handful of games, like they've come back and cut those leads to 2-3 possessions. So I mean, there was a point in my mind I was thinking, man, these guys have been here before. I've seen it on film, them come back. So it was important for us to continue to execute at a high level offensively to keep them at bay until we could get back to guarding, the way we needed to.
And then when we talked to you the other day, you talked about the challenges of putting together a roster and building depth. You suddenly now have a new player mid-season. Can you tell us what the conversations have been like as far as trying to add Puff Johnson to the roster, and then when you think we might see him?
Yeah, what a time in college basketball, and I think for us there's a couple things to know. One, we've had dialogue with our team, for now probably a month, few weeks, that there was potential for us to add somebody. So I think the most important thing for me was to have transparency with those guys. Certainly, we've dealt with some injuries. One that's going to last us a while in Brandon, and two, some stuff in game that's been impactful. So I think it's worked out well that we're able to add someone with experience. And the other thing is this was a long process for he and his family. I'm really happy for them, because it's a situation where we can support them, but there's really only so much we can do, and we got to let them and the NCAA and stuff kind of sort itself out. So the waiting was challenging at times as we kind of figured hey, it's going to be him or not, and we got a locker room full of great guys. He's a great guy. He's got some versatility. As far as when he's going to be on the floor, I don't know. He's got to go through some things, to kind of get cleared at Ohio State. He and I have had conversations, certainly, and we're hoping to get him here as soon as we possibly can and begin that process of, getting him becoming a part of our team. And that's kind of the most, I guess, thing we know right now, is we just got to help him become a part of this group, which I love this locker room, and we were not going to. Certainly a lot of ways that rosters can change now. We were not going to add anybody. Fit was the most important thing for us. Priority number one. If we were going to fill that last spot, fit had to be right. And we feel really good about that part. Now it's going to take some time to get the basketball side. And when we get some answers on that, we'll let you guys know. But right now, you and I are guessing as to when that'll be. But we'll keep you updated on that, certainly. Any other questions with that?
You don't have a timeline in mind. I guess that would be the other main one. But, you don't have any estimate as to when you could.
This is the first time I've been a part of this, so I don't have a lot of data to go back to and see how this kind of has to go. I think it's about an evaluation. Two things. What we're evaluating. One, he's got to be ready physically and everything to play. That's for his safety and everything, That's priority. That's a priority. And then for us, he's got to be ready to help our team. That's a priority. So I don't know how long that's going to take. He's got a lot of experience, and I think there's a great deal of value in that. He's a versatile player, and has, really, really good size. So there's certainly value in that, and that makes, I think, easier to kind of integrate a player. But yeah, I wish I could tell you it would help me plan. But right now we're kind of, it's going to be wait and see a little bit. I haven't had a chance. We haven't had a chance to work him out here yet. So I don't know that. Yeah.
Do you worry about chemistry at all, like fitting into, like not just like on the court?
Yeah, that is absolutely a fair question, and I don't, because of the guys we have in our locker room, the type of young man he is, and I think we have to be realistic about this, right? Like, can't just throw him in and play 30 minutes and expect everything to look normal. So we're going to take it one day at a time. And he's a great young man. We have great young men on this team. So it is absolutely a fair question, but I'm not worried about it.
Assuming he's been staying in shape. Have you had communication?
We've had talk. Yeah, he says he's in good shape. Yes.
How long does it take to get him just to get up the game preparation? Game speed?
Yeah.
If a guy is working on his own.
I think everybody's different. I think what that work looks like certainly plays a factor. I like to believe that I'm in game shape right now. That's when I play with the managers, though. When I have to jump in practice, it's not as good. So, we'll see. And I know guys, like, I want some answers on this too, as you do, and I wish I could give you those as soon as we can. We'll get together and talk through it.
Monday at 1 o'clock in here after his radio show.
Yeah. Wish I could give you a little bit more, but yeah, go ahead, Con.
Did Brandon's injury have any impact on this thing with Buck, or was it just like initiated in the fall and it was like, hey, let the courts do what they're going to do and maybe he joins or maybe he doesn't? Or when Brandon got hurt, in any way was this process like pushed a little bit?
Yeah, there was nothing we could do to push it. I think, again, the relationship Ohio State has with the NCAA is great, right? And there's like, we wanted to support Puff and his family as in a way that was appropriate and for all parties, and that's what we did. And so there wasn't like anything we could do, right? Brandon gets hurt, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, we gotta go do this. There was none of that.
Was there a moment where you thought this just straight up isn't going to happen?
Yeah.
He had applied for waivers. He had
Yes.
lawsuit denied. Like, when did you think this actually could happen?
It was a roller coaster ride. I think, again, so happy for him and his family. But there were times where I was feeling bad for him and his family, right? You just didn't know. And listen, the landscape in college sports right now is a tricky one. And I think we all are hoping for clarity moving forward. Things are moving in the right direction. There's a lot of smart people that are working really hard to get this thing in a place that, continues to make what I believe, no offense to football, is the best sport in college. But, I know they got things that they got to sort out. We're obviously, our sport's changing. So we got great leadership. We certainly have it here at Ohio State and Ross and what he's been able to do at the forefront of all the stuff that's going on. But from the NCAA to all, like, there's a lot of people that are spending a lot of time and effort to continue to move this forward. And, as a guy who's loved college basketball his whole life, I'm appreciative of the effort that's going in. And, this was a situation where we kind of had to wait and let it play out. And we're certainly happy to have them. All right, guys, thank you.